Welcome to Sikh class. For the older group, we'll be continuing with Japji Sahib Katha, Body 21. And my younger group, you'll know who you are now. So in a few minutes' time, we'll get gather our things and we'll go downstairs. And then we'll come back and listen to some Kirtan later on.
Tika? No, that's it.
Okay. I'll do my younger group.
Okay, I'll focus. So today we're going to continue with Japji Sahib, the meanings of Japji Sahib into Body 21. Obviously we did Body 20 last time, which was about what? What did we talk about, Hanji? Cleanliness, yeah? Yeah, we get dirty on the outside, so it's Hanji.
Like removing a layer of like dirt and like bark and thin.
Yeah. So the internal side of things, so we talked about our stool sarir, which is our outside sarir getting dirty. And then our suksham sarir, which is our internal sarir, which we can't see, is invisible to us. That's where our mat, bud, our consciousness, all of those things reside there. But they don't get dirty or maleen, as the word is used, on the with dirt. That's the same dirt as the outside. They get polluted by bark and other things that are negative. So in that body, Guru Nanak Dev Ji talked about how we deal with those things. So this is now a continuation. So Body 21 continues talking about some of the similar themes, but development of that theme as well. So what we'll do is, as ever, we'll do the part first. So if we all join in nice and loud, got the windows open so you're competing against the Pen Road traffic. So all together, let's up and that part kar liye. Tirat Jeko Pare Dil Ka Man Sunaya Maniya Man Kita Pao Antargat Tirat Manna Sab Gun Tere Naina Hi Koi Vin Gun Kirte Kat Na Hoy Swast Aat Ani Varma Sat Sahan Salam Anchao Kavan Sabenda Vak Kavan Kavan Thet Kavan Var Kavan Seruddi Maha Kavan Jetova Akar Verna Paya Kanti Jeho Vele Quran Vak Nadaya Kaviga Vele Kande Quran Thet Varna Jogi Jane Rutma Vana Koi Jakarta Siti Ko Saje Ape Jane Soe Kiv Karaka Kiv Salahi Kyo Vandi Kiv Jana Nanak Akan Sako Ake Eku Ek Syana Vada Sahib Vadi Nai Kita Jaka Hove Nanak Jeko Apo Jane Age Gyana Sohe Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Okay, so a continuation from the last body. Let's get back to the beginning. So if we're going to summarise in terms of what's in the 21st body, we would say, as you know, the very first word is Tirat. So it explains the difference and tells us what the real Tirat is. So we talked last time of Stool Srir and Suksham Srir. Therefore there is also a Tirat that Maharaj says is that on the inside as opposed to the outside. It talks about Gun, virtues that are needed in order to worship Vaheguru. It then talks about creation in this body to the point that people asking the question, remember when we started Japji Sahib, we put the list of questions that people are asking, where did we come from, etc. And it talks about Vaheguru as the creator, but people's understanding about that creation, when it was, where it happened, how it happened. And Guru Maharaj Ji goes on to explain that as many discourses that are taking place on this planet about when creation happened, nobody knows, only Vaheguru knows. So we'll continue with the body, dok at a time then. All together, first dok. Okay. When we did the earlier body with Tirat, mention it. What is a Tirat? Remind me. Anji.
A place of
A place of, what makes it a place of pilgrimage? Can we just set up any old place and say this is a Tirath? Anji?
That's somewhere where like a saint or like a spiritual person has been.
Yeah, spiritual, and they've probably done some bhakti there, and it becomes a special place. So in India, in particular, in Hinduism, how many places of pilgrimage, how much Tiraths are renowned? And
68.
68, yeah. And often we use the word Asar Tirath in Bani, referring to the places of pilgrimage that over time, as somebody's done bhakti. Now, the problem with Tiraths over time has been that they've become ritualistic places rather than real places of worship. So Maharaj is saying here that in days of old, these places were special places for bhakti. Somebody had done bhakti, so people went there. And particularly in India, what's happened as a tradition over time is that Jite Tirathya, people go there. And in doing so, they have become ritualistic because they've forgotten about the essence, they've forgotten about the inside part of it. So Guruji says Tiratha, and what's happened is the tradition has become, the Maryada has become, when you go to a Tirath, that what you do there is you give to people. So Tirath te tapakarna, which is the discipline that you carry out. But people also go there with compassion and they give things to people. Dat, and dan karna, to give. So Tirath tapa, they are dat dan. So all of these things take place at places at Tiraths. Now, done in the right way, they should transform somebody from being a certain type of person to being a better person. But Guruji says, Tirath tapa, they are dat dan. Doing all of these things at a place of pilgrimage will lead to what altogether?
Jeko Pave Tilkama.
Jeko Pave Tilkama. Okay. Now, these things are quite useful going to a Tirath, or doing things in religion that you repeat are sometimes are a starting point to get you on the path of spirituality. So, if you go to your Kirtan classes at the very beginning, all you're learning is, and you're thinking, all I'm learning is Sargam. And you can be on your Sargam for a very long time. And I don't know what the first class in double is, but in the early days, you think, where's the end goal in all of this? Where am I going? But you need to start somewhere. So sometimes doing things repeatedly is actually a necessary thing, but then after a while you need to let go of the repeated nature of something and do it for a reason. So Tirath tap daya dat dan. All of those good positive things, Jeko Pave Tilka Man, by themselves, tel ki hunda. Anyone know the Punjabi word tel? It's a sesame seed. They're the smallest, like dot almost. So if you have some of those breads, sometimes they have little sesame seeds on them, don't they? And then they fall off when you eat them. They're really small. So the point Maharaj is making is that all those things, whilst people think from a religious perspective, going to a tirath, daya karni, tapa karna, on their own, they're actually worth very little. So the start of this talk continues from, yes, tusi baro malina, you're dirty on the outside, so you can go to places of pilgrimage. Now what particularly happened is that in times of old, people had to be careful that they didn't do tap and go to tiraths, and it became homme. So Brahmins in particular would go to places of pilgrimage. So the Siddhs actually said to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, come with us, we'll take you to the 68 places of pilgrimage, and you will become a holy person. You will become spiritually uplifted. And Guruji said, no, there's no need. And what the tradition became is that the Pandits would go on a pilgrimage to the 68 places of worship, and wherever they lived, they'd knock on the doors and say, Asi tirath te challe, give us some money and daan that we will, when we get there, we'll distribute it and give it to people. And when they came back, they would say, I went there to this tirath and I went to that tirath. Which is fine if you're doing it for the right reasons. But to some of them it became almost like a medal, you know, a virtuous thing they've done, and everybody else needs to know about it. So tirath tap daya dat dan jeko pave tilkama. It's worth very little.
And this sort of shabd says exactly that. Your home, your ego is just increased by going to these places, yeah? Then people start to treat those people with doubt, and they have suspicion about them. So over time in India, the tradition of going to theatres got replaced by almost a ritualistic thing about going to theatres. So Guruji says, that's not the real theatre. The real theatre is Jitename. Okay. So the question then to you. So what is that the true theatre where the dirt of many lifetimes is washed away and people become absorbed? And there's a mriada of doing this sort of, because we talked about the theatre going to it. The mriada was you go to a holy place of pilgrimage and you give daya, you go in daya, you give dat and you give dan. Yeah? So why do you think is the real theatre? It's gone dark in here. Can't see you guys. So where's the real theatre? Is it one of the 68? No. Where is it? Inside, outside, on the moon? Okay, we'll move on slowly then. Okay, so continuing on where theatres have come from, there is, Guru Maharaj says, once again historically, is that the theatres, the ones that take the biggest, so which are the famous ones? And they're on that slide, two at the bottom. What's the biggest one? Yeah, Ganga, Jamuna. Jamuna is where Guru Gobind Singh Ji spent a lot of time when they were Paunta Sahib, near the banks of the river Jamuna. Yeah, and the Ganges, as we know, is very well renowned. Now, the theory or the belief is in Hindu society or in Hindu religion that two rivers, the Ganga and the Jamuna, are visible. People go to them physically and they bathe and they think they're washing away their sins. And equally they do that with the Jamuna. And there's a mythological place where the Ganga and the Jamuna come together, and where they believe that where the Ganga and the Jamuna come together, a third invisible river, Saraswati, is also there, and they call it Tribeni because three Benis, three rivers, come together. And they say this is the most holy and sacred place because of those three holy rivers coming together, the Tribeni. So the Ganga Jamuna then leads, and that's why I've done a sort of dotted one, because it's an invisible one, it's not there. So that's the Ganga Jamuna of the outside world. Guruji says there's an inner Tirat inside us, and thanks. And the inner Tirat is replaced as not being Ganga anymore. The first one we've already heard in Japji Sahib, because it was thought boarding and dedicated to listening. So Guruji said to listen to Naam is our first visible river. So when we do Path, we can hear ourselves. When we do Kirtan, we can hear ourselves. It is visible to us. And that is described as our internal Ganga. And then we have our Jamuna, which is belief. To believe. So our religious practice, these are visible things that we do. They help us to become better, and they're part of our Tirat as well. And when they come together, they reveal a third invisible Tirat or river to us, which is love. So earlier on we says this develops that a little bit further and says to listen and then to believe leads us to the next doc altogether. Sunaya Manya Man Kita Pao. Now we have to listen and we have to believe. And it leads to love for our Guru, for the Shabd, for Vaheguru, for now. And that's why we see the Sharda, and these things develop as we go along. So, to recap, so in Hindu mythology, what are the three rivers? Anji, go again, please. Give me one. Ganga. Okay, you're going to give me one. Yeah. Anybody else? Saraswati, yeah. Saraswati. And in Sikhi, in Japji Sahib, on the inner Tirath, those are replaced by Sorna, Sonya, Manya, and Pao. Pao is love, Sorna means to listen, Manana means to believe. So, Sunya, Manya, Man Kita, Pao. So that is our inner Tirath. And we, by exhibiting those elements, we find what is the lost element in us, the love for Vaheguru. Because when you first come into Sikh, you first start going to Gurdwara, you listen, and it doesn't necessarily always make sense to you. And over time, you start to listen to Fetusi Mannan Lapande, and you start to believe it. And then it comes to a point where we listen and we man, and then we get to the point we have love for that thing that we can't do without it. So we'll say, we have such power for it, such love for it, we can't tiag it, we can't let it go. We want to listen to Kirtan, we want to sit in Sangat, we want to learn about Sikhi. That power comes together. So our inner Tribeni, our inner Tirath becomes revealed to us by doing these things. So Sunya, Manya, Man Kita Pao. And then what happens altogether? Okay. Antargat Tirath Mal now. Mal means mer, means dirt, yeah? Now means to bathe. But this time we are bathing our inside. Antargat Tirath Mal now. Andron, we are washing ourselves. And if you remember last time, when we talked about all the different things that constituted Bab that make our man Mera, now by Sorna, Manana and having power, we are starting to wash those away. And that's why Sikhi is a progression of not one day I'm not a Sikh and next day I'm a Sikh. It's a gradual progression for that power to increase, to the point where the power increases where you start doing Simran and Vaheguru and devotion of Vaheguru in such a way that you and Vaheguru come together. So the Bhakts, when they describe their state, they describe the state of being one with God. Why? Because they've replaced outside rituals with inside Tirath, the similar vein as Tirath. So this body is saying, Tirath tap daya dat dan je ko pave til kaman. The outward Tiraths will only lead us to a small fall. Thoda ja fall now you only get a small amount of fruit of doing those things. But if you start to do the internal things, yeah, that will lead you to discovering more inside you. And it's that cord. Remember when we talked about the Big Baji talk about the cord inside. And Barney again and again will, if you search Tirath, will always tell you keep Tirath here. Tirath naaman jao, Tirath naam hai. Naam is our Tirath. So why should I go and bathe at places of pilgrimage when the Naam is the actual real Tirath? Now if you look at all the Gurukas with sarovars around them, Maharaj has very deliberately made sure Jitte Sarovar that Naam is read all the time. Because Darbar Sahib is the obvious one, isn't it? When we go to Darbar Sahib, we do Ishnan, Sri Darshanan. But more importantly than doing the Ishnan is then doing the second Ishnan, which is going to Darbar Sahib, Matha Tekana, Naam Sonna, and some people I know also go to Sri Akal Takht Sahib and they'll do part there. Or during their, if they're staying for many days, we'll do part. So Tirthana Jana is only meaningful when you have Naam. So Tirath Naaman Jao, Tirath Naam hai. Furthermore, Tirath Shabd Vichar hai, antar gyan hai. So this repeating and listening to the shabd nu manna and having power for it, having love for it, means that your vichar, remember when we talked about vichar being part of our man, yeah, that spiritual wisdom starts to come into us within, and then we contemplate on that. Gyan, that knowledge that was previously unknown to us, starts to come to us. Tirat shabd vichar hai, antar gyan hai. Yeah, and this can only come from the Guru. It can't just come from anywhere. Yeah, so the Satcha Gyan comes from the Guru. Yeah, and not through other things. Or all those other things that people are looking for on the outside, they become fulfilled anyway. Yeah. And in turn, the Gurmukh will always ask for Naam. So somebody who becomes this way inclined won't be asking for worldly things, they'll be asking for the pyar of Naam. Naam de Kadala Kya. So that's the first 4 tukka. Just going to go back to them so we just make sure we're fully focused, because this body was simple enough to read. Sometimes it's difficult always to follow the flow. Yeah, so it's always good to break it down, look at it, and then also I think the other thing now is, now that we're up to body 21, you can start relating things to earlier body, and everything starts to fit together and jigsaw together. So all together, Tirat Tap Je Ko Pave Sunaya Antargat Tirat Manana. Okay, so we now know that the first 4 tukka are addressing the outside Tirat and the inside Tirat. Okay. Does that come up here? Next talk.
Sab gun tere mein nahi koi.
Okay, we'll just do half of it. Sab gun tere mein nahi koi. Okay, so the person then says, if the outside Tirat is no good, of no avail, or very small avail, only worth a little bit, Maharaj, then we have to believe in Naam. So how do we get that Naam? What will make Vaheguru give us Naam? And Guruji says, Sab gun tere main nahi koi. The Guruji is showing, as ever, extreme nimatta. But the talk is aimed at us. Bhakti can't just come for no reason. One, you must have good karma. Yeah, you must have good previous karma. But we talked about 3 gon already. Now listening, sarna is a gon. Now you're probably at school sometimes, and you probably have some kids that just won't ever listen. Yeah? Sometimes on a bad day, you guys might not ever listen. Yeah? But sometimes, jira sarnaya, it's a gon, it's a virtue. You're right, you've done your shoulder in.
This hurts.
Did it hurt? You hurt? I will come back. I'll ask you at the break. Wrestling move. Football injury. Alright. Okay. Sabgun tere mein nahi koi. So all gon, all virtues are Vaheguru's. So the first gon is sarna. And you've had to learn how to son. Because it's difficult, and sometimes especially when you're listening to somebody else talk and you have to just sit there, listening becomes a difficult skill. But in Sikhis, listening becomes a skill. When you have to when you continue to listen to Naam, not that you have to, yeah, when you continue to listen to Naam, in the early days when we first try and sit and do a part, you think 10 minutes and I'm good to go. Yeah? Then you develop your stamina for sitting and listening, but more the listening, because to sit and take things in properly, sarna benda properly, and we talked about the sarna boarding, which now come into even more focus. Yeah, so listening is a gon, manana is a gon, and bow is a gon. You can't have it's a gon. Some people will never have bow for shabd. Yeah, the manmukh will never have bow for Shabd. They might go to the Gurdwara, they might sit there for half an hour and go, but they'll never have bow because they're manmuk, they're self-willed, they're about what they are. So to have that gone is another gone. Shraddha, faith, bhavana, similar. All these things, all these positive virtues, now if you think about Bhakt, they're at peace, Gustani Karte, they're shant, they're very, they love everybody, they're compassionate. So all those things are gone. But Maharaj says, Sab gun tere, yeah, main nahi koi. I have no virtues. So when can they come from? And if I want to do your bhakti and I want to get close to Naam, how do I do that? Especially when, next doc. So here's the challenge. Sab gun tere main nahi koi. So we're at a position where we have got no gun, we have no virtues. But Vin gun kete bhakti na hoy. So we want to do bhakti, we want to get close to God and Vaheguru. And Vin gun kete bhakti na hoy. So if I've got no gun, but the way to God is through gun, how do we get there? So how do you think? Let's throw some challenges up. Well, firstly, I'll give you some already. Which virtues do we need to get close to God? Listening, or believing, having love, and some of the other ones. What makes you do part? Yeah, there you go again, Muskin. Shraddha, bhavana, faith. So if we didn't have these things, we wouldn't do them. What makes us want to go towards the group? Shraddha, bhavana, all these gone. And sometimes where do we get them? We come to the Sangat, we see other God sects, they inspire us. We listen to the Sakhis of the Gurus, we listen to the Sakhis of historical Sikhs as well. We see other God sects in our lives every day that lead Gurmukh lives. And you see that they have gone, then you start watching them, and some do seva, and you say, I wish I had that bhavana. Then you go and try it. Some do Path, Kirtan, and they do it very well, and you think, I wish I could do that. And that gone starts, we start to want that gone. So not negative gone, but God gone. Virtues, yeah. So these are the sorts of virtues that we need, and Naam. Yeah. But one of the other virtues is that when we first start out, we start with small amounts of Naam. Firstly, we're not ready for it, or our mind is not necessarily ready. But one of the virtues that Naam Japana gives, it gives you more Naam. So somebody when they're young might say, Halima Vaheguru the Simran is all I can do, and I might only be able to just repeat it. As the development takes place, that becomes Mool Mantra Karna Pa. Then we start to do Japji Sahib. Then we start to do other part. Then we listen to it. We listen to the meanings, and it becomes more and more. So that is a gradual build-up. So if somebody says, okay, Mool Mantra Karna and I don't want to move forward, or you don't do it bow, it won't grow. But the ones that want to do it, their bow and their good gone will lead to those building up. So the Shabda, the Bhavna belong to Vaheguru. The example given is that if we say Sadhe Gone, and you have to remain humble about gone. So if somebody gets gone, so if we become able to do Bhat, able to do Kirtan, we start to understand Bani better, and we start to do Seva. If we say I mere gone, I've got this, I can do this, I've got this, then there's a danger we start to lose those gone, because sab gun tere mein nahi koi bin gun kete bhakt na hoy. The gone belong to Vaheguru. And the reason I picked that picture is because it demonstrates something. Now, today's a good day actually, because it's demonstrated. I didn't need the picture because it took a long time finding it, but the room itself gives you an example. So today we have sunlight in the room. It's a rare occasion, but we have sunlight in the room. Now, if that was my room at home, And the room made a claim that this sunshine that's coming into the room belongs to me. Does the sunshine belong to the room? No. Who does the sunshine belong to? The sun. Yeah? The sun's rays are coming through. Now, in a few hours' time, it'll get dark and this sunshine shall disappear. So this room can no longer claim to have that sunshine, or it can't say, this is my sunshine. And so, equally, the Gun of Vaheguru belong to Vaheguru. We can adopt them, we can have them, but they're never ours. Well, they will become ours, but what we can't have is we can't have that claim, that arrogant claim, in mere Gun hai. So in this talk, Maharaj is saying that in order to get to Naam, we have to have virtues. If we thoda Naam japna shuru kar de, because it's like a circle, isn't it? It's like that old chicken and egg. You can't have one without the other. Which one comes first? You have to at some point start doing some sort of Naam similar and getting close to Naam to get more Naam. Yeah? But you then got to have the Gon. And the Gon won't come without the Naam. So we sometimes say, well, there's no point. We have to go on Henige. So that's why I haven't got Naam. And that's normally an excuse for people that don't do it. Oh, my karma bad, I can't do it. But your karma actually might be okay, but you doubted yourself to the point where, I think the other example that's often used, somebody was digging for oil, and they bought some fields and they excavated for oil, and for 30 years they excavated and excavated and excavated, and then they gave up faith. And in giving up faith, they sold at a loss the fields they had bought for oil. And the very next day, the person who bought the fields struck oil. How does that make the first person feel? So not only did he sell his oil fields for a loss, for 30 years the attempts were made and nothing came. And the very next day, those same fields gave oil. The first you could say there was good karma on the person who bought them. The second, there was a lack of faith by the first person in thinking that if I've done this for so long, I'll keep continuing. And with Naam, it's like that. The Gon keep coming every day. But you've got to make a start. You've got to keep trying. You've got to keep trying, and you've got to keep making the effort. So those Gon are Vahegurus, and Vaheguru is full of Gon. Sab Gun Tere. To what extent does Vaheguru have Gon? Beanta Gun Tere. So Vaheguru is known as Beant. Now, when we get to the, I think, 24th body, we talk about all the Ant. There is no end. And one of the names we give to God, to Vaheguru, is Beant. Because Vaheguru is God's virtues, and everything God has, God's power, is endless and limitless. Has no number associated with it. Beanta Gun Tere. Yeah? And he says, how many of these can I sing? And sometimes the Gon come by singing the Gon of Vaheguru. So when we keep singing, Tu Vadda Hai, yeah, Tu Beanta Hai, those Gon start to transfer, and we're not become as big as Vaheguru in one sitting, are we? But slowly, every day, Gon katte kari chalo from Vaheguru. Listen to Vaheguru's Gon. So when Vaheguru is described as being Dayal, we start to become Dayal. When we sing shabds with Dayal in it, we start to become Dayalu. When we start to contemplate being Dayal, and we listen to the Bani that says Dayal, when we start to think about Vaheguru's other virtues, other than compassion, Santok, so we start to become more content with what we have in life, instead of Avi Chaida, Avi Chaida, Avi Chaida. So Vaheguru is Beant, and Vaheguru's Gon are Beant. So if you're going to get Gon, we need to stay close to Vaheguru, and we can only do that through Naam. On day one, our Naam will be low, but eventually those Sikhs that are doing Bhakti over a long time and contemplate Vaheguru a long time, they start to increase their Gon. As Gon increases, Naam increases. Okay? Yeah, we'll carry on. All together. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Swast Art Bani Burma. So when we were preparing for this program, we sort of listened to 3 different katha, because having associated with Japji Sahib for a long time, and a lot of people come to this talk, and to break it down is for me certainly, I found that I didn't realise there was so much in 5 words. Swast, Art, Bani, Burma. And I can't count either. Is there 4? 4 words. Swast, Art, Bani, Burma. So what do we think this line means if we ignore what it says in blue? What would you all think? You can have a look at what it says in blue. Give you a starter. So what's Bani? Okay, word of Vaheguru. So in everyday life, when we use Bani, we say it's the word of Vaheguru. But in general Punjabi speaking, if I said to, if I said Gursevak di bol Bani bahut changi hai, what does that mean? Bol Bani. What's bol? Speak. And Bani means the same. You know, sometimes when we say 2 words together, it means exactly the same, but we say 2 words rather than 1 word. Yeah? We sometimes will say, Tu changa palaya. Changa and pala mean the same thing, but we say 2 words. And we say bol Bani. So and so the bol Bani bahut changi hai, so and so the bol Bani bahut mari hai. So Bani in everyday language means word. Okay, Swast, Art, Bani, Burma. So it's a development. So if you think we said that Japji Sahib is a discourse between Guru Nanak Dev Ji and the Siddhs at times, and just generally people that want to know, asking questions. So this body has started off on talking about Tirath and a continuation of the last body, how to clean yourself. It now comes on to Vaheguru and Vaheguru's Naam Marna Gidaya. How do we get close to that God? Why are we trying to get clean? Why are we trying to get pavitra? Because we want to remove the mare. Give satyara hoiye, give ure tutte pal. We want to remove that wall of falsehood. And that can only happen when we get close to Vaheguru. So the body now starts to go towards that, and it starts to talk about Vaheguru. Because the Siddhs are asking Guru Nanak Dev Ji, okay, Tirathan te jaake sadi gal nahi banni. We want to achieve what we want to go for Tirath. And you tell us that we need to have Naam. So where will Naam come from? Gona Jai there, Gona Vaheguru there. So then they need to understand Vaheguru a little bit better. So Swast, Art, Bani, Burma. So I tried to break it down into this slide in terms of the meanings. Yeah. You okay?
Yeah.
How long do you want to go before we break? 10 minutes yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
How far have you gone through?
We're just up to Swast, Art, Bani, Burma.
I can't remember how far that's in.
Here, slide 807.
ठीक है.
ठीक है?
Yeah.
Good. I'll let you catch up. Okay. So I tried to break it down like this because I said we had to sort of listen to 3 different katha to sort of understand this talk. So Swast is described as Kalyan Roop Paramatma. Those were the exact words that were used by 2 of the 3 that we listened to. Sorry. So Kalyan means to give deliverance, to give mukti. So Vaheguru is known as Swast, as the one that gives deliverance and mukti. So in explaining to the Siddhs Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Vaheguru is Swast, the creator, the one, is the only one that gives deliverance. Swast. And that Vaheguru that gives mukti created together At. Swast At. At here means Maya. Remember when we spoke about Maya before? 3 modes of Maya are, can you remember? Tamogun, Satogun, Rajogun. Yeah. On the next slide. Yeah. Rajogun, Satogun, Tamogun. Vaheguru created, so if we go all the way back when we talked about the creation program, we said Vaheguru created the creation. And how did Vaheguru do it? Vaheguru is in Son Samad, in a state of what we can describe as nothingness. And there's nothing, no creation whatsoever. And Vaheguru, in order to create Vaheguru's Sargun Sarup, created Maya. And Maya is part of that Sargun Sarup. Vaheguru created Maya. Vaheguru is not Vaheguru is not bound by Maya. Vaheguru created Maya. And the Bani here, two meanings. Bani here means to make. So Swast, the Kalyan Rup Paramatma, the one that gives deliverance and mukti, Bani, through word, created Maya. Kita pasao eko kawao. All together? Kita pasao eko kawao. What does that mean? Through one word, Vaheguru created rivers of creation. So Swast art, Vaheguru has created Maya. Maya is all the bits that make the creation. Because the distinction between Vaheguru's Nirgun Sarup and Sadgun Sarup exists. If it didn't, people would say, this is God. That's why we say this is God. But Vaheguru exists outside of Maya. So Vaheguru exists in creating everything that's made from Maya, because Vaheguru created Maya, but Vaheguru remains distinct in the Nirgun Sarup. So, Swast art Bani Burmao. And Burmao, let's go. So Burmao or Burma is taken from here as well. Now Burma is not necessarily a person in this doc. It talks about creation. So we said at the beginning when we did the what does this body talk about? It talks about Vaheguru, it talks about creation and when it happened. So in this doc, Maharaj is saying Swast art Bani Burmao, that the one Lord created through word, Om. Om represents the three modes of Maya as well. We had that slide before. So Om here, creation, sustenance of the world and destruction of the world. Vaheguru sits to one side and Maya plays its part. Every day Maya is taking place. It's unfolding itself. Creation is still unfolding. And I'm going to come on to something else on that. So all through this doc is essentially saying Swast art Bani Burmao. The Creator, Lord, the Kalyan Sarup Vaheguru Paramatma, through Maya, which was created through Vaheguru's word, Om, Kita Pasave Kokwao, Burmao, to create. So these four words are literally saying all of that, but we normally read it quickly and move on, but it means much more. So hopefully that's helpful. Swast art Bani Burmao. Did you? There's a different interpretation.
Yeah. So you haven't mentioned this yet.
I haven't.
Okay. So we briefly mentioned that there are different interpretations of Bani. Yeah. Now there isn't a single explanation that covers everything in Bani, because Bani has come from Vaheguru. We've heard that Vaheguru is infinite. So how can we ever say that some Puri Suji Malaki, that we have full understanding of Bani? We never can. So in Sikhi we have various stigs. Now stigs are where people have tried to understand Bani and give an understanding to the reader. And people have kind of taken different views, different interpretations. Now, one interpretation of what you've heard so far is that this is a description of Vaheguru, pure and simple of Vaheguru. So you've heard Swast art Bani Burmao, that is a description of Vaheguru. Now, another way of understanding this doc is that what you've heard so far is an explanation of the Gorsek or the Gormukh, who is kind of becoming enlightened. Every step of the way they're becoming more and more enlightened, to the point where they've listened, they've believed, and now they've come to the point where they now have love in their heart. Now, up to this point now is where they are now becoming lean, all merged in Vaheguru. And this doc, some people have explained this as follows, that Swast art, and what they've interpreted it as, is a bit like, when the sun sets, it dips into what appears to be into nothingness. They say that Swast art for them is a bit like saying, okay, so your being is now becoming merged with Vaheguru every day. And art is interpreted as Atanwela. Now, in very old Punjabi, Atanwela was the evening. And guess what? When the sun sets, it's the evening, isn't it? So they say that means that a bit like how the sun sets and dips is what our minds, our inner being, should be becoming merged with Vaheguru. And then Swast Art Bani Brahma. Bani, as we know, is the word, and Brahma is what creator Vaheguru. So that Gosek has gone from listening to believing to having love in their heart, and now becoming merged in Vaheguru. And that's kind of an alternative description. Yeah.
Okay. So Swast Art Bani Brahma. The one I was just going to quickly refer to is when we talk about Vaheguru's creation. It's very last slide.
Yeah, it's probably also mentioned in the Guru Nanak Dev Ji when they preached Sikhi, what they didn't do is dawa. Does anybody know what dawa means? Not necessarily in our religion, but what does dawa mean in other religions? Does anybody know in Islam what dawa means? Okay, so you know when people from the Islamic faith try to convert other people, what they preach is something called dawa. What they're trying to do is explain to you in absolute terms what their understanding of Islam is and why you should become Muslim. And there is no room for any maneuver at all. It's black and white. Now in our religion, we don't believe in that everything is black and white. As we said, that Japji Sahib itself, one of the descriptions we gave of it was what? Can anybody remember? Right at the beginning, we talked about Japji Sahib being metaphysical. It's not the literal, it's the essence of something. Yeah? It's an understanding of something through understanding a wider context. Yeah? So it's not in absolute terms, it's not saying Aidan, nothing else, which is what Dawa is. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji's teaching is not Dawa. It's vichar, it's an understanding that you gain gradually.
I'll do 2 more slides and then we'll take a break. Yeah. Okay, so Swast Art Bani Brahma. So Vaheguru is the creator. So whilst everybody talks about Brahma being the creator, the creation and the sustenance of creation and the destruction of creation is taking place every day. It's happening. And can somebody show me where Brahma and Vishnu and Shiva in all of this? You can't see them. So Vaheguru is actually the doer of everything. Yeah? These are names of almost virtues or characteristics that have been carried out. So creation is happening all the time. Now we have a nasty virus going around at the moment, and it could destroy a lot of people. Destruction and death happen every day. Yeah? And the in-between bit, the sustenance, every day people are born, living, moving through, plants come and go. Yeah, the universe exists. So this is only last week, I think, or the week before, on the BBC website, when it says, telescopes detect the biggest explosion since Big Bang. And scientists talk about it, and it says, scientists have detected evidence of a colossal explosion in space, 5 times bigger than anything observed before. The huge release of energy is thought to have emanated from a supermassive black hole some 390 million light years from Earth. The eruption is said to have left a giant dent in the Ophiuchus or something galaxy cluster. I'm not a scientist, so here you go. But Vaheguru's creation we talked about, and Vaheguru being the creator of Maya. Maya is manifesting itself in many places and with great power still. So the creation is still unfolding, and this will highlight some of the Tokkan later on. How far is the extent of the creation? We don't even know. This lady scientist goes on to that. How can I describe this? The best I can do is to tell you that this explosion, if this explosion continues to occur over the 240 million years of the outburst, which it probably didn't, but anyway, because that's when the original Big Bang they think has happened, it will be like setting off 20 billion megaton of TNT explosion. So Vaheguru Shakti we talk about, and Vaheguru being the creator. So we talk about Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh as the 3 deities. They're just concepts of creation, sustenance and destruction. So Swast Art Bani Burmao, then we'll do the next doc after.
Should we do I think there's a natural break after that.
You want to do that one
Yeah,
first?
I think, and I think if we did this next doc, I think that will kind of give us a kind of a move into the
You don't
next
know what you like.
section.
Are you okay for it? Do you need a break?
5 minutes. Yeah? Happy
Awful.
to do it?
Shall we do it? Go on.
Okay. So, what the next verse is what?
You have to wait for me now. Let me just get back there. Okay, where did we get to? Yeah, I think there was a natural break there.
There is a natural break there. We're going from Vristi to Sristi in a minute, so that's the break.
Didn't do the slide.
Have you done your rooms?
I've done the room,
Have you?
but I didn't need a room because the sun was coming through the window.
Okay.
So Vaheguru's creation, yeah. Utpat and Padlo. Utpat, the creation. Padlo, destruction, yeah. Is all through Shabd. Gita Pasawe Kokawao. That Ong has created everything and continues to do so. Okay? Because we've been told we have to do this talk. All together?
Sat Sada Manjao.
Okay. So the Swast Art Bani Burmao, the creator who has created everything through Maya, through the word, and has created creation, is Sat Sahan Sada Manjao.
So what does that mean? So Sat ki hunda? Truth. Okay. Truth in what context though? Pure truth or something else?
Timeless.
Yeah. Everlasting is the sort of interpretation of what true means here.
And
So
what-
something that
yeah.
continues on ad infinitum.
And not in just in one time frame. So what do we say? Ad, Jugad, Happy, Nanak Hosi. Sat means true as well. So Sat and Sat mean the same. So Vaheguru is Sat from the beginning, through time, now and forevermore. So Vaheguru is described as Sat.
Sohan ki hunda? You'd say, Aj din bahut sona hai. What would that mean in everyday language?
Khan Sahaba. Sahaba means
Something that's beautiful.
beautiful indeed. Yeah.
Okay.
Sohan Sadaman. Yeah. And then Sada Man Jao. Now when you're happy and you're wearing a big smile, yeah, does that mean you're happy because you're smiling? Where's the real happiness coming from? It says in there, Sada Man, yeah, from inside you, yeah, from your Man Jao. So Vaheguru is described as, so the Swast Art Bani Manwal creator Vaheguru is Sat, Sohan and Sada Man Jao, is always perpetually in bliss. Remember when Vaheguru created the creation, sits aside, Veparwa, Nanak Vik say Veparwa. The Veparwa Vaheguru sits and just observes. And that's, God doesn't get involved in everyday. Maya is doing that. The creation is carrying on through Maya. Yeah. So sometimes this talk is also, we translate it as Sat Chetan Ananda Swarup. So when we first did the Mool Mantra, we spoke about Vaheguru being Sat Chetan Ananda Swarup. Means exactly the same thing. Sat Chetan, where beautiful is used in the translation before, it's more about Vaheguru being a conscious entity. You remember when people said, you know, if Vaheguru, we can't, just because we can't describe Vaheguru does not mean that Vaheguru is not a moving and a real entity. Vaheguru is Chetan, a conscious energy, and always in bliss.
Okay. So ancient rishis have used different words, but essentially means the same thing. So the words that they've used is Satam Shivam Sundaram, which is Sanskrit, but is exactly the same thing. So something that's true, something that's everlasting, yeah, and something that continues in a kind of blissful way. So Sadidi Khira is the word that we would use of something that is constantly happy, is constantly optimistic, constantly positive. Yeah, so Maharaj is saying that Vaheguru's kind of mode is that. So how, you know how we are up and down, as human beings, sometimes they're there, sometimes we're there. Occasionally we might be somewhere in between, but not very often. We're saying that Waheguru is in that state where Waheguru is constantly in Siddhi Kira, that in that constant bloom, if you like. If Waheguru could be described as a flower, it's not one that's about to burst into bloom. It's something that's in bloom all the time, constantly.
Tika, do you want your break now? Go on. Have a break then. We'll come back in 5 minutes. Yeah.
I was going to give them an alternative explanation, but you're not allowing me to. We'll do it afterwards.
One of the boss.
I know, boss, we're at the end.
Go. All right. Go. We'll come back and do an alternative one if time allows. Chalo. Next class.
Okay. So this particular body we can basically split into. What you've heard so far is, if we're going to categorise it, we could say this has been about vristi. This has been about us kind of looking inward. The next bit is about sristi. It's about looking outwards and observing the world. Now, before we do that, I'm going to give you a very quick alternative to that last doc that we just covered. In time-honoured fashion, stop looking at your watch. In time-honoured fashion, we said that with this particular interpretation, the alternative to it could be that it's about the Gurmukh, about the Sikh, who's becoming enlightened through the steps that we talked about. And this last doc that we've just done, Sat Sohan Sadam Manjao, is also then a description of that Sikhs enlightening to the point where they are Sat, they are Sohan and Sadam Manjao as individuals, as Sikhs. Now, an example of this could be where a Sikh, or in the case of Guru Arjan Dev Ji as Guru, is able to separate their physical from their kind of hirda. So they can go through untold suffering without even murmuring a single word, because they have a door between their physical and their spiritual and their sort of inner hirda, and that's what this gives you. So their Sadam Manjal comes from the very fact that they have that ability to be able to do that. So even in gravest physical pain, they don't feel that pain in the same way as what we would. For that reason.
Yeah, we'll come to that on I don't know when we might come to another talk somewhere later on in Japji Sahib, but the layers of the human being, so the outside, the skin, the bones, etc. Then you get into the Sukshma Sarif, and where the Jyot of Vaheguru exists in everybody. That's the part that doesn't feel pain, but not everybody experiences that. Some people aren't at that level. So I think that's a link to that as well. So we'll carry on because we've got 2 shops to do and we've got still the rest of the body to do. All together? Sorry, I haven't made it. Okay. What's our next slide? It's not showing them there. That is it. Okay, I'll do that. I'm going to put this slide on first. So, question. Okay, fitting the Punjabi into these. Month. Go back. Okay, let's do the top. Kavan Savela, Waqt Kavan, Kavan Thet, Kavan Var. So, Guru Maharaj has now been asked, Vaheguru, who created the creation, when did Maharaj create the creation? When did Vaheguru go from Nirgun Swarup to Sargun Swarup? When did this happen? So the questions are being asked of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Kavan sa Vela. Vela means time. Waqt Kavan. Waqt means the same, but in Arabic languages. Some people have used it for day and night as well. So Kavan sa Vela, Waqt Kavan. Yeah. Kavan Thet. Thet ki hindi hai? I thought stand up a hand there. Okay, let's do the easy one. Kavan Var. How many Vars are there? Starting with that Var. I'll give you a clue now.
A var is a
Day. So the Var is the days. The Tit is...
phases of the moon. Is that what they are?
Are they? So, in the lunar calendar, tits were used, is those in between. As you know, it's not always absolutely 15. It's 15, 16, varies. Yeah, sometimes can be less than 15. But between the full moon and the no moon, so between Purnamashi and Masya, there can be anywhere on an average of 15 ticks. Phases. And that's what tit is. So, was the world created in the tit? Was it the first tit after the full moon, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth? So it's longer than a week because it's 15 days. So, govern Savilla, what was the time? What govern? Yeah, the moment. Govern tit, govern war. Questions asked. And then?
So,
God means form.
so what rot are we in at the moment?
Yes.
No, but in English ones,
Spring.
spring.
Which is the same
Doesn't
thing.
feel like it sometimes, but it is.
So so
It's a season. Yeah.
and then we'll have that horrible one where all the leaves fall off. Batajar. And then we have Sial. We have something else as well. Anji. Autumn, yeah. Batajar was autumn, yeah. When the leaves fall off. Okay, so the second part of the question, so the first one was Govern Savella, Vakt Govern Tet Govern Var. Equally, Govern Saruti, Maha Govern Jitha Akar. When did this Akar take place? When did the form of the universe or whatever we see, when did it happen? What was the season? Rot. Keri Rot Segi. Maha Mihina. Yeah, Kera Sega. Jitha Akar. So all together, all of these, and Guru Maharaj in this body, the whole purpose, when we talked about Dava, so Guru Maharaj was preaching in Dava formation. He was saying, "Twanuni pata, mainu pata. You're all wrong and I'm right." But Guru Maharaj says no. He says in religion there's no room for Dava when talking about Vaheguru. Vaheguru is at a different level to us, beyond our comprehension and understanding. So when we talk about Vaheguru, we can't deal in absolutes. Ke Vaheguru ainna ka badaya. ਇੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਦੂਰ ਹੈ ਇੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਲੱਗੇ ਆ yeah ਆਹ ਸ਼ਕਤੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਆਹ ਥੋੜੀ ਆ ਜ਼ਿਆਦੀ ਆ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ is complete in every way and beyond our own bod, our own understanding. So Guru Maharaj then says nobody knows these things, even if people try to pretend that they do or make. So one view of the world is that God created the world in 6 days and took the 7th one off. Yeah, God got tired. Yeah, so we don't accept that. Why? Because why would God operate within limits? We'll come to those limits in a minute. And why that's not true anyway. Because when God created the world, nothing of this existed. So the answer to those questions is altogether? Okay.
So, you know, the Purans are the ancient text of the Hindus that they refer to when they want to understand what is, how it became, what will. So Maharaj is talking about Pandits. Pandits are learned people that know the Purans. And Guruji is kind of asking a rhetorical question. Guruji is asking, can the Pandits refer to their Purans and tell us when it was? And the answer to that is that we don't know, or they don't know.
I'll leave this doc. I'll just put some extra doc in here just for reference, but we don't necessarily need them. So, the biggest Pandit of all is regarded as Brahma, because Brahma wrote the Ved. But as we've spoken before, when we spoke earlier about some of the boarding of this, Brahma himself, being as intelligent as he was, with the knowledge that he had, that he wrote the Ved, he too could not tell anybody when Vaheguru created the world, what time it was, where it was, yeah? So Brahma and Vishnu and all the demigods cannot evaluate when God, how big God is, or when God created the creation.
Yeah. So all Brahma could say was, not this, not this, not this, not this.
Yeah.
Niti, 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 niti.
Okay, so the other one, so the next slide says, the Kani Onkar. That's a reminder to myself. So, Maharaj has written a Bani, and we talked about Gita Pasawe Ko Kawal, and that Kawal was Om. And from Omkar, from Om, Vaheguru created everybody. So even Brahma is a creation of Vaheguru. So because Omkar Brahma Uttapat, Brahma was born or created from Vaheguru. So when Vaheguru said Om, he created the three modes of Maya, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Were created by Vaheguru, not the other way around. Yeah, and through Om creates everything. So that Maya creates everything, and Brahma developed as a being or a character, whatever you want to say, and the rest of the world took place. But when we talked about Dave, Guruji is in this part of the Kanyaka saying to the Pandits and the Qazis of the time, don't debate these things. Where did Vaheguru come from? When did he come? Yeah? Have an acknowledgement that Vaheguru is great and Vaheguru came whenever Vaheguru wanted to come. He's Vaheguru's in control of everything. Yeah? So, Son Pandey, yeah? Pandit there, don't debate with other religions or people within your own religion. Udasi, Ekdasi, that we know when it was. Yeah? So, the answer to these is Verna Paigya Panditi, that the Pandit does not know. And equally, come on here. Next talk. Verna Paigya Panditi, and also. So the answer is not in the Quran, because if it was in the Quran, the Pandits would know. And the Islamic holy books, so referred to as, are referred to as Quran. But Vaktana Payo Kadiga, Jere Kaziya, who look after and study the Quran, who wrote the Quran, they too do not know, because it's not written in the Quran. So where na paya panditi je hove le Quran, Vaktana Payo Kadiga je likhan le Quran. If they were written in these texts, then these people would know the answer to these. Okay, next. Who are the great other beings of the time? All together? Okay. So the yogis who are debating with Guru Nanak Dev Ji about the universe, etc., even they, as great scholars, Thetvarna Jogi Jane. Jere Jogi, they don't know what Thet it was. Quietly, guys, nice and quietly. Excitable. Okay, Thetvarna Jogi Jane. Sorry, Thetvarna Jogi Jane Rut Mahana Koi. Nobody knows Keri Rut Sigi. Nobody knows which var it was. Na Pandit, na Kaji, na Jogis. None of them know.
And then the answer is in the next doc.
So the answer to it is, when did it happen?
So the only being that was, only that being knows, because only that being was. That's the answer. The Karta or Karta was the only entity that could ever know. So human beings cannot know, because they would have to be Brahma. They'd have to have a similar status to Vaheguru.
So Vaheguru the Sirjanhar, whenever Vaheguru created this list, yeah, Ja Karta Siddhi ko Sajje Ape Jane Soy. So neither do the Kajis know, nor the Pandits, nor the Siddhs, or any other knowledgeable people of the time. Nobody knows. Only Karta knows. Because when Vaheguru decided to create the Sadgam Swarup of Vaheguru and the three modes of Maya, Vaheguru knows when that happened. Ja Karta Siddhi ko Sajje Ape Jane Soy. Yeah? So nobody knows. Why? Because, and how can we praise Vaheguru? All together? Instead of trying to quantify and trying to understand when God came into being or when God created the creation, instead of that, Guruji says, sing Vaheguru's praises. Ask these questions itself. How can I get to know and describe Vaheguru? Well, we can't describe Vaheguru, we can just try and absorb in Vaheguru. Yeah? So, Karta is the greatest. Yeah? So, yeah? Next talk. Yeah, so what Maharaj is saying is, instead of debating these, contemplate Vaheguru's greatness. Yeah? How should I praise Vaheguru? what should I use to salah Waheguru? And Guru Nanak says, Nanak akhan sab ko ak. Instead of being in this position where everybody says, Mainu ede naal jada pata, he says, Mainu ode naal jada pata, so and so says, Mainu ode jada na pata. And debates are taking place about when Waheguru created the creation and where Waheguru came from. Yeah? Guruji says, instead of that, yeah, Nanak akhan sab ko ak, ik tu ek siyana. Everybody's more siyana than wise than the other one. Instead, all together,
Vadda Sahib.
the Sahib that is sab to vadda. Vadda Sahib, vaddi nai. Waheguru is great, Waheguru's naam is great. So instead focus on Waheguru's naam. Vadda Sahib, vaddi nai, kita jaka hove. He's done everything. Waheguru's created everything. Only Waheguru knows when the creation was created. And many times God has created the creation and taken it back in within and reabsorbed it. You know, in Chopper Sahib we read every day, don't we? Yeah. When Waheguru manifested the creation, it spread out. When Waheguru wants to take the creation back in, it all returns back into Waheguru. Vadda Sahib, vaddi nai, kita jaka hove. And then the final talk all together. Summarize that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, in this doc, Guru Nanak Maharaj is saying that those that claim to know will be deemed as being unworthy in the next world, as being not approved, not Parwan, because we've said that Waheguru's virtues, Waheguru's guna, are infinite. And if somebody can say that that person will not get the reward, if you like, of the next world.
Yeah. So just a quick talk from Shabda Hazari, which sort of sums this up, that we can't place Waheguru less than Waheguru is. Waheguru is beyond these debates, and what is most important is Waheguru de gon gone. If we don't sing Waheguru's gone, we won't get the gone. That starts us on the path of spirituality. Yeah? So, oops, I think I've got transition on those. Yeah? We'll go back.
We should go to the chapter.
Okay. Alright, we'll come back to that. So today's body was all about the 21st body. Started off on the Tirthas. It spoke about how to get close to Waheguru. When creation happened, and the answer is nobody but Waheguru knows. And there's no point debating it. Otherwise, spiritually, you won't get anything in return.
So, the true Tirth is the one within us, and we have to seek that, and that's that inner Aprinjiri Dristi, we use that for that. But then to observe and to praise Waheguru, we look at the world. And the conclusion that we can draw is that nobody knows how the creation became, when it happened. All we can say is Waheguru, is wondrous Guru, wondrous God. That in acknowledgement of everything that there is Waheguru.
Okay.
Is Waheguru Sargan Saru.
So thank you for listening. So that's 21st body. Next time we'll do 22, maybe 23 as well, but maybe 20. We don't know yet. We'll decide. So 2 shops today. Damjo first, yeah, Aja. Except you're going to do double up. Yeah, and I think you've done Seva today, so we'll do 1 shop done Seva as well next. So first we're going to listen to
Jai
you very much. So next, please. So the Shabd Guru Meri Rakhle, our true Guru preserves us at all times here. Why? Because the Guru has given us Amrit Naam. Amrit Naam Hriday Mein Dino Jan Jan Ki Mehr Gai. So we talked about Tirath Ishnan. The Tirath Ishnan will not wash away Tode Jan Jan Ki Mehr. But Amrit Naam, when in your Hirda with Pao, yeah, Manya, Sunaya, Manya, and then Pao, when those three things come together, then the Shabd will wash away the Mehr. So it's an appropriate Shabd for today. So the younger group have done about Seva today, so we're just going to listen to a Shabd about Seva. So Satguru ki Seva safal hai, je ko kare chit laye.
Ji
ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋਨੇ ਹਾਲ
सेवा so Satguru ki seva safal hai je ko kare chit laye. Yeah, so we talked about chit, we talked about pao, we talked about belief. So all these things we learn from Shabd Guru is our Guru. So thank you for attending today. 40-22 for the older ones. Any other messages?
Any other messages? So just put the next class
Next.
slide on. That's the 12th of April, which is 5 weeks today. There you go. The Nagar Kirtan, the Sedgley Street Nagar Kirtan is going to be the week after that, on the 19th. Some future programs. Also next week, if anybody wants to catch up on any programs that you've missed, we're at Wensfield, Well Lane, from 6 o'clock for an hour. We'll be covering off one of the earlier programs that we've covered up.
And I got my volunteers for next time. So practice away. You've got 5 weeks to practice this week, not 4.
Any questions from anyone before we close the program? Okay, we'll do Fateh and then we'll go.
Okay.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.